Good morning, everyone. Welcome to American Scousers Morning Coffee or Tea with American Scouser on a Wednesday morning, where obviously I'm the greatest dad. I see number two is in the chat because he has to have a job and all that kind of stuff. He's a big boy now. Speaking of who's a big boy, now John is trying to figure out his camera setup and technical difficulties and stuff like that. But he will be joining us in a minute over here. I see Sir Z, Adam. 3 p.m. in UK, the afternoon coffee or tea, if you will. Welcome aboard, sir. So everybody gathering on, and the Polish Prince, as always. I don't know why shouldn't you be at work too, but when you're a prince, you go in and out as you please. Not a lot of news that we would like to share and talk about, unfortunately. I know Crystal Palace is rumored to have some movements going after some center backs and stuff. Does that mean Gay is going to get done at the end of the week? I don't know. I'm getting more and more impatient. Unfortunately, it is the 27th. So we have 4 days here. And I am just not confident in terms of going into the season the way we are. How bad would it be? I guess I'll ask you guys that. How bad would it be? I would be afraid of a title run, knowing especially Champions League games and all that kind of stuff is going to be creeping up soon. So that's probably like the biggest concern there. But I'll ask you guys, since there's already quite a few in the chat over there. And if you're watching, hit that thumbs up right now. Let's get that action started. I'll forget to ask later on. As you hop on the show, hit the thumbs up. That should be. And I guess you can hype up the show now, is what Sergi was saying. But I don't know if that's afterwards, during, how that works. I have no idea. But do what you got to do. Hype it up, thumb it up, all that good stuff. But I'll ask you guys that. Alan, good morning, sir. If we enter the season with no other moves, how confident are you guys of a title run, a Champions League run? Can the current squads win anything? Sergi says null and void the season. Adam says we do need better squad. That I agree. There's no title race without one more center back and attacker. I think we're on board there. Which one is more important? I am not sure. I just can't decide. I think there is more of an overreaction for the center back position, given Konate's couple of recent performances over here. Aside from that, I think most would have probably normally gone with, especially, or is it because we don't know anything about the kids? I mean, I think someone was talking about that. Maybe it was Adam. Somebody was mentioning that we spent a lot of money, or maybe it was like Wolf yesterday in the comments saying you don't pay whatever we pay, 26 or 30 or something like that for a player that you're not going to use, but at the same time, we did it with Mamardashvili too, and that was my concern. So we've done this now recently, where we spend money for the future in terms of the succession plan kind of a deal, knowing how much they normally go. Go to number two. We definitely needs, but has been such an incredible transfer market compared to most in recent memory. See, to me, if you do not do another move, it really makes the transfer window a bit more meh. Does that make sense? I don't know. Is it just me? It's kind of you kind of started out good. I've been saying this for the last couple of weeks. You wrote a really good paper. When you're gonna turn it in, you don't put your name on it. So I don't give you the credit for it now, because you are still going into the season with glaring needs at the end of the day, because you have moved some people out as well. I mean, especially. And that's where the openings are, really, right? Because when we did those signings, it looked like a more complete squad. But when you sell Kwanzaa and you sell Nunez and Diaz, which I'm not against them either way, that's fine. But it's in terms of, that's when you created the voids now that you do have to fill. A month ago, a month and a half ago, before those sales happened, I think it was a more complete squad, and we were like, okay, we're good. Even if it was like Nunez and stuff like that. I mean, obviously, Ikitiki has been a huge upgrade so far, so we'll talk about that. But I just feel like it's incomplete, would probably be the grade. Yes, the draw, is it tomorrow? Yes, it is tomorrow. Because I know actually Fenerbahce is playing their last qualifier today, which looks like Fenerbahce kind of like threw that away and say like, we'll just go to Europe. I think Mourinho doesn't want to take Fenerbahce to the Champions League and get his head beaten in constantly. So he's going to go and do well in Europa and stuff like that. Let's see if this guy is ready to go. Ready to go? Really skinny. You lost some weight. You look very vertical. What's going on, man?
I did. I mean, did I? I hope so. Like, freaking been working out over the last few weeks, trying to get some gains in. I don't know if I'm making progress though. But yeah, technical difficulties. I switched to my phone, so that's my like emergency thing. I don't know what's going on with the resolution, man, because I put my camera at 1080p. It's saying that the broadcast is at 720p, so I'm trying to scale it down to that, but it freezes. It's not moving. So
I always lose to a lower resolution. Nobody needs to see me at 1080p or anything like that. So
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Well, it froze my camera, so here I am using my phone. But yeah, like don't stop on my account. What were you talking about? So I can jump on and give my
talking about, and then we went all over the place as always. Ozan says, "Would love to see if I qualify." Yeah, I'm not sure, honestly. It's hard to root against winning or anything like that, but. They play Benfica today, an away game. The first game was 0-0 at home. So it's like I don't know. If they win, they win. If they don't, I'm not going to be too bummed because I think they will be a really, really good and solid team in Europa because a couple of the players they added are not qualified to play against Benfica, but they'll be in the Europa list and stuff like that. But going back to this, I think we need to give Verse the ball more and not Mo. But honestly, we could not. I mean, I'll ask you. I mean, obviously, we never got a chance to talk about this. We didn't have a post-match, John. But
yeah, we did.
What did you think of the Newcastle game? I mean, mainly let's talk about that, like Wirtz and Mo, because I felt like we could not get them on the ball the entire game.
Right. I mean, it would be nice to give him the ball if we had the ball in the first place.
Well, that's true too, I guess.
We could barely like if we're talking about the sample size of 11 versus 11, that was basically up until Gravenberch's goal, and then Gordon came in with that tackle with Big Verge, and we were mostly on the back foot there. Our midfield could not get control at all. So I get that argument, but then at the same time, you'd want to have control of the ball. Surprisingly enough, we couldn't even get control of the ball when we were up 11v10.
Yeah,
in the second half, which is very worrying. You're asking me what I thought about the match. Some positive signs, more negative signs, I would say, because I think it was Maka. I was actually on the Discord. I couldn't really contribute because I was on the train, but seeing 11 versus 10, there is no way we should be in the position that we were at 11 versus 10. Absolutely unacceptable. And I think a lot of that falls into the manager. I don't know if it's just us simply having that lack of initiative, right? Or that cockiness, like, oh, we're 11 versus 10. We got this. Like, no. Like last year, if we're going to be looking at the team that historically gave us trouble most throughout the season, it's these big, physical, high energy sides that can overwhelm our midfield, overwhelm our attack with their physicality. Newcastle United, and that showed, especially towards the start. We were talking. I saw some discussions on the Discord where people were talking about man of the match. Szoboszlai is definitely a name to throw in there, but we lose that game if Virgil wasn't at the form he was playing at throughout that game. He's my man of the match. He won every header. Like Konate, take note. He won that 2-minute header. I think second. I don't know. First half. I think second half. That header where he had no business winning against Dan Burn in the box, where he just flattened him on the floor. He won a header against two guys in the midfield. Like, that's exactly the kind of mentality that I think the team should have had coming into that Newcastle game. It looked like initially that, at least, obviously, it's very early doors, but it looked like Slot didn't really learn from, the beatings that Newcastle gave us last year, where they just overwhelmed us physically, sort of clogged up the middle so our midfielders couldn't get any of the ball. And if they do get the ball, they get swarmed by their more physical midfield. So, yeah, overall for me, there were some positive signs.
Well,
though.
Let me ask you this then. Hold on, since you said that, because there was a lot of like Slot hate going on in the chat too. But
I'm not hating on it.
We all know how a couple of those guys in the chat can overreact to freaking anything. So I'm not even like taking that seriously. What could he have done differently that would have changed that?
Well, to be fair, in his defense, we didn't have our first choice midfield. We had Gravenberg, who came back. It's literally his first game of the
Yeah.
season, right? So throwing him into the Wolves, I'd like to believe he adjusted better as the game went on. He sort of like initially, I feel like he was a little bit being bullied by Guimaraes and Joe Linton and stuff. But as the game went on, I think he tried his best to hold his own. But in terms of like the energy, I feel like it wasn't there with the midfield. Jones as well. I feel like he tried his best. But the energy of that Newcastle team was just another level. In terms of what he could have done, uh, push it towards the flanks, maybe. Try and create, especially when we were down to 10, when we were up 11 versus 10. Like,
Yeah.
you can see where the gaps were. It was on the flanks. Like, if we overloaded them on the flanks, kind of like how we used to play with Klopp, right? Where there was a heavy emphasis on fullbacks overlap, on crosses on that flank. Given the numerical advantage that we had, it was just surprising. It was really surprising that we still kept trying to push it in the midfield and try to sort of hit them on the counter when it was 11 versus 10, when we had the numerical advantage. Like, I'm not going overboard and saying like Slot's a fraud or anything like that, but you can't come out of that game without questioning the manager a little bit, if that makes sense, as to why certain things were pushed when reason would have. I mean, my biggest thing is like, where was Andy Robertson, right? Towards the end, like, where was Andy Robertson? We sort of needed that veteran sort of presence to calm things down, who knew what to do. He's been through it all, seen it all. I'm not saying Kirkez had the worst game in the world. I think he had a bad moment.
No,
He had a bad moment.
Game. He had a bad game. I don't know why people are saying like he wasn't that bad. No, he was bad.
I think it was an improvement.
He wanted on that side, like the entire first half. Elanga would face him up and then got the cross, and the ball as a back over there. You can't let that cross in. Your job is not to let the cross in. Every single time Elanga got the ball to the middle. So I thought Kirkez was brutal. My only theory on Robertson, or a lot of the stuff's not coming in till later, is one, he did not trust in him. Two, the game was like too intense for him.
Brought in Bradley though.
Introduce a guy. What was that?
He brought in Bradley, but not Robertson, right?
But that was really late too. That was after like 70s. I mean, we didn't substitute till at least like 73.
Right, but then Robertson has seen some game time, and he, with all his experience, I would fancy putting him over Bradley in a situation like this. Bradley hasn't played a minute.
Honestly, the only reason I think Bradley came in was to push Szoboszlai to midfield.
Right. Yeah, I get it. But then
we didn't want him as right back. I mean, that's the only reason I think Bradley came in, because we needed Szoboszlai to push up to the middle because we were getting tired in midfield. So that's, I think, why Bradley was introduced. I think either he didn't have a lot of faith in those guys, or he did not feel like the game was. I mean, this would be a total different game if it was at Anfield, for example, 11v10 and stuff. I do agree in terms of, what we could have done with the ball, like probably gone to the wings more when we had the number advantage. But the only thing with that is we criticized them last week. And mind you, I realized it wasn't 11v10. But against Bournemouth, I thought we were almost like a little bit too attacking, naively attacking when we were up 2-0. So if we get caught, because the fullbacks are pushed up and stuff like that, doing an overlap, and you get a goal on the counter, it's going to be, it's going to be even bigger criticism. So I understood that. I just felt, he said it after the match too, that we kind of like some of the players on the pitch that kind of like rush things a bit too much. Like they try to do things when we could have just controlled the ball. I thought that was going to be a snooze fest after 2-0. It never ended up being. And this is probably another thing, but I'll be honest, like there was a moment where I think it's the second half, and I don't understand, like Kirkez looks slow, but I don't know if that was because he was tired or what, but there was a moment where he's sprinting and you're like, Kirkez is going to get that. And then I was like, oh, wait, shit, what, is he not going to get there? Like, what is going on here? Because he was like running in stand.
Was it Elanga who was listed as the Premier League's fastest player? Like in terms of just raw.
Sure. I mean, he's a fast dude.
Yeah, he's a really fast dude. Like I get it. Kirkez didn't have his best game, but then at the same time, like Lang is a really fast dude. Like if you're like half a yard behind him, I think it's over. You know what I mean? I'm not excusing Kirkez in in any sense. But I totally get what you mean, because that looked really strange. Like, is Kirkez that? People were
Look,
saying, is
if it
Kirkez
was in
that slow?
FIFA, you'd be like, "What is happening over here?" This dude is like
Right.
juiced up, like he's got the momentum going. That's why he's running faster or something like
I
that.
I
It looked
guess
like he was running in sand for a second, but
I guess since we're on the subject of Kirkez, it's 2 games in, but in terms of the panic meter, where are you at? Because
panic
hey,
meter?
yeah, for Kirkez, because
No,
I know people are bringing it up. Like, the Discord can have a lot of hyperbole. There can be no middle ground
you
sometimes. Yeah,
think?
yeah, there can be no middle ground sometimes. Like, personally, I'm not worried. He's 21 years old. This is his move to his biggest club, and the first 2 games, I'm surprised people wrote Bournemouth off as an easy game. I did not see that as an easy game at all on paper to start with. It's actually a really tough game to get things started up, and of course, Newcastle away, like I mentioned at the start of the show, a team that seems to be our kryptonite in terms of style of play, right? Big
Yeah.
physical midfields that could bully ours. It's not an easy first 2 games for him by any means, which is why I'm not worried. But then, I guess my question to you, and I think you kind of answered it already, you're not panicking at all for the Kirkez thing?
No,
No worries?
I mean
Mm.
that's kind of like too early to panic. I mean, despite what Gordo says, I'm not. Yeah, I mean, the panic is probably a
I
strong
mean,
word. I think
what about
worry. Yeah,
worry? What
worry.
worry?
Yes.
Yes.
Here's the thing, and I think this is why there is a worry, or people are a little overreacting. We're kind of talking. I was asking Victor about this on like the Monday night podcast, where I think when we sign all these players, right, we kind of said, oh, they're going to need an adjustment period. Like,
Yeah.
there's going to be first couple of weeks, Premier League pace and stuff. You didn't put Kirkez in that equation just because he was coming from the Premier League. So everybody felt like he would just show in and be the best left back, kind of like he's the player league, team of the season in the Premier
Right.
League last season as a left back. So I think we kind of assumed he's just going to slot in there. We don't have to worry about him. It's going to be like these other guys like Frimpong. The guys coming from Bundesliga are the ones that we have to more worry about getting adjusted. I think now we're like, wait, what? He's struggling too? Like, what's going on? So I think people are kind of like overreacting and like coming to a point where it's almost like panicking. But and going back to what Adam is saying, we need Adam here more. See, he's like Mr. Positivity, because at the end, yeah, you are better off than you were last year in the sense that you got away. But I think got away is probably a good way to say it. It's like bringing back 3 points in that game from away at Newcastle. I think, like Gally was mentioning it too, it's probably like your 3rd or 4th toughest fixture of the season in some ways. I think that's huge by itself. So
Right. In the grand scheme of things, it's still a net positive compared to last year, where we came
yes,
out of St.
exactly.
James
Yeah.
with 1 point. Now we're +2. So
Yeah. Mind you, we
yeah,
gave away I think that was the one with the Keller mistake, right? The cross
yeah,
coming in and he drops it or loses it or something like that.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, that's like the biggest, I think, the plus you can take away. And we knew with new players, there is going to be an adjustment periods. So the key is getting 3 points during the adjustment period. And if you can get those 3 points during the adjustment period, you're in good shape. And that's what
right.
we're doing right now. This weekend is a big test in that sense. And I think that's the set
You
piece
sticking with
one. Go
you
ahead.
sticking with Kirkez?
I think you're sticking with Kirkez. I mean, you are. I think the manager has said he's sticking with Kirkez by not putting Robertson in that game. After he kind of, I don't know what the hell that defending was in that goal against Gimaresh, but after seeing
He was
that,
boxing him out, man.
Yeah,
He
he was
trying to get the
boxing him out.
rebound. Trying to get the
I did that
rebound.
on the exactly what it looked like. And I think that's like the biggest like head shaker there. It's like, what are you doing? I think he misjudged the flight of the ball. So I get that. Like he thought it was gonna fly over there, but he's boxing it out, so it becomes a goal kick kind of a deal. But dude, how do you misjudge it that badly? You
He
don't
wasn't
have to
even
win a
looking at the
header.
ball.
All you got to do is jump. As a little dude, I can tell you, you don't have to win headers. You just got to be a pest who's jumping there, especially against a guy like Gomes. Like if you jump, he's not going to get the header he wants in because that's not his game anyway. So
That's the
he
thing.
probably,
Like,
even if he gets his head on the ball, he's not going to be able to direct it or whatever because you're going to jump bouncing into him or whatever the case might be. It just does not like it just looks so bad on him. But I think people are just looking at that. Like even you mentioned, aside from the goal, but I look at the first half and I felt like, holy cow, every time they come from the left. Mind you, Soboslai made a kick-ass right back, meanwhile. So that was nice to see, but it was probably being wasted. I actually went back. I mean, it was on a YouTube poll actually last night and was watching. If you watch the last goal, Soboslai is actually initially on the left-hand side trying to get the ball in midfield when that whole thing starts. If you watch Soboslai's movement in that thing, he gets a lot of crap for like his smarts and football smarts and stuff like that. I mean, you watch his movements in that goal, that's pretty darn impressive. Like where he kind of like starts on the left, like tries to find an open slot in the middle. Then he senses that the ball is going to go wide and you can see him sprinting into the box, and all that creates obviously the opportunity for Rio at the end. By the way, Mr. Barrett is in the house. Good morning, sir. And Tony hopped in earlier. Good morning as well. Yeah, we do have almost like 20. We were up 20, over 20 a go. So I'm assuming we should have at least 20 likes, right? So hit the thumbs up. Let's bring some other newcomer victims over here into the chat as well. But yeah, the first 3 games of a season on extension or preseason. And let's face it, man. I mean, this is kind of like a really, really tough schedule in that sense.
Right.
Because,
we have,
going away to Newcastle and then coming in, obviously playing against Arsenal. How worried are you about the Arsenal ordeal? People were talking in the chat earlier that, let's face it, the set pieces are where we struggle. And I think Adam was saying like he wanted Konate dropped. I don't know who you would want him dropped for.
Yeah, unless we have Mark Gahey in the team, I don't think you're dropping Konate.
Yeah, that could happen at the end of this week, but I don't think you just like throwing him out there. But like, how much of a concern or what do you expect out of this weekend's game?
Yeah, it's for the Konate thing, it's funny as well because things have come full circle. Like Slot immediately replaced Kwanzaa because he wasn't winning his duels. What was Konate doing all throughout the Newcastle game? Not winning his duels. Yeah. So it's like, listen, I know it sounds simple. Like winning your duels sounds easier than it is, but then at the same time, you're a 6'4", 6'5" bruiser of a man. You you mean to tell?
Yeah, but you sometimes you're going against Burn. It's not like you're going against me.
No. I get it, man. But then he wants that contract. We talk about it all the time. He's betting on himself. Like you bet on himself, you gotta prove it on the pitch. You gotta win those duels. You're not supposed to let a soft goal like that equalize the game. You're not supposed to let that through if you want to be that top level center back, getting that top level center back money that he wants at Liverpool, that Real Madrid is offering him. Like, for all the credit we give Konate, like we got to balance it out. His season has been awful to start.
It has been poor. It has
very poor. Like it goes back to how he ended Klopp's last season and why Kwanzaa was starting over. Hell, why Matip was starting over him before Matip got done in his last season. It's coming back to that Konate, and it's, I guess, going back. We're talking about going back full circle. We're going back into that position where we doubted giving him an extension. This is why it stretches like this is why people have those doubts of committing big money to him. Yeah, sure, last season was a brilliant season, but then you know what I mean? It's hit or miss. It's hot and cold.
Season, I mean, not every player is gonna, but there were some games last season where we felt
exactly
Konate was better than like Van Dijk in some games, like defensively. So if you say that by itself, I think that's like a huge compliment to him, and he stayed healthy. I think the last season's biggest thing for Konate was the fact that he stayed healthy, and that's why like the off season everybody started about the contract talk and stuff like that.
But then
are you 6'6", or did you just look 6'6" because you were standing next to us?
No, I'm not 6'6". I'm like 5'10".
No, you're not.
I'm like 5'10" and a half, or I don't know. Like it
6 or some shit, dude. People saw you standing next to us. What the fuck?
I don't know. I'm not 6, that's for sure.
Really? Okay.
yeah, I'm not 6.
Because he was standing next to us, and we're all like tiny people. The Monday Night Crew is not really gifted with height. Let's put it that way. So
what,
you look like a giant. Not to mention, like we did not expect him to be that tall. That was the Filipino, I think, assumption.
we're not really that
stereotyping that we made, and then you showed up, and we were like, "What the hell?" Sean says, "I'm sick of Newcastle." I'll tell you what. Newcastle is more sick of us.
Oh, yeah, they're sick of us too. Imagine that. We're close to getting their best player. Like, I'm assuming it gets done this week. Otherwise, we're fucked, right? We're
you are thinking that's gonna get done, by the way.
It should, man. I can't think of a scenario where it doesn't, because if it doesn't, we're fucked. Right? Like,
I feel like if it's not him, even if it is somebody else,
I hope so.
I'm not like all my eggs in the Isak basket. I don't think a lot of people are now. Like, I feel like a lot of people are like saying we need, and I'll ask you that. Like, is that because Ekitike's play? I think the way Ekitike has started, people have gone from we need Isak to we need another attacker. It doesn't have to be Isak. I know that's where I'm at.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, I still like the idea of getting I still like the idea of getting Isak, but then at the same time, I also look at it from Newcastle's perspective, where they have to sell him because he doesn't want to play for them. He's made that clear, and I don't think his mind is going to be changed, even if he does stay. Which, again, we talked about it last week. You have a £150 million asset there, like, sitting on the bench. You're not going to use him, where you could have easily gotten 150 million pounds in assets to use for a potential. Like, I get the whole, like, you can't find anyone, but it's better to have the cash in the bank than not. You know what I mean? Then try again this January window. You know what I mean? So it doesn't make any financial business sense for me to not sell him, which is why I'm sort of confident we'll get it done. They want a certain amount for him, and I think at this moment we're the only club who could give that amount, if that makes sense, which is why
I don't think we're going to give that amount anyway, but I think you might be right where it does get done somewhere in the middle, like 130 or something like that.
But yeah, if we don't give them 150, man, 130 is still a lot of money. I don't think anyone's going to be coughing that up other than us right now. You know what I mean? Like, even if we do meet in the middle, that middle's probably 125, 130, which is still a ton of money. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Isak got picked for Sweden. Yeah, I mean, I heard that and I was like, that kind of like makes sense in a way where they're not like, oh, then we're going to like abandon you. I mean, it's kind of like for the Swedish national team to turn their back on Isak would really be dumb in a time like this. So, okay, what is going on? This Yim, I thought it was like a like a Japanese defender or something. Gay Yim that we're signing over there. Active talks. Yes, can we make it active and done over here? By the way, active and done. Let me do the mid-show reminder over here. If you're watching us live right now, do hit that thumbs up. We do have, we have almost like 37 people live right now. So they should be ideally 37 likes. It won't be, but let's get pretty darn close over here.
Growth has been consistent as well, guys.
What was it? I'm sorry?
No, I was about to say growth has been steadily climbing, guys. So let's keep on keeping on for this growth for the channel.
That's a good one. That's like a bad 80s song. Newcastle game was going to be tough on the circumstances. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It was going to be, that's never an easy game to go to. And this drama on top got them really going. I mean, you see that Gordon tackle. I mean, that's Gordon anyway, but you can kind of see like people over trying a little bit. But it goes back to what you're saying. I think it's kind of like completely against what we kind of like try to do in midfield, and teams that we do have, trouble going against. Ozan is turning into just making up players at this point, but just make it 130 with some easier add-ons. But I mean, where is everybody at? I want to ask the chat. We got a ton of people over here that's about to hit the thumbs up. Are you guys like Isak, or just give me an attacker that's who's solid? It doesn't have to be Isak, because that's where I'm at. So if this window closes, it's not Isak and it's somebody, another attacker. I know like a Rodrigo is being thrown around. It doesn't even have to be Rodrigo. I mean, I don't even care if it's like a name no one love. It's just like an attacker that, this scouting group feels confident in. And you get a center back, Gehi probably, because that's where I rather feel confident in a center back they're getting. than the attacker they're getting in terms of like name and knowing and stuff like that. Because I feel like that's the only issue, for example, with Leone. I mean, they clearly see a lot. I only have seen him because I'm not a huge Parma fan, so I've only seen him like through YouTube and stuff like that. So, but I don't know if I even have confidence to throw an 18-year-old kid out there, especially against Newcastle team would not be. And I think Adam or somebody was saying in the comments to throw him in the Arsenal game. I mean, there's no way. I mean, there's really no way to do that to a kid. I don't think. I mean, sometimes you hit like, I mean, when you throw a winger in there, like a 16-year-old who's about to be 17-year-old, but that's, you know, you're just rolling the dice, and
it's rolling the dice. It's absolutely
getting paid because it's a winger. The damage is very minimal. Whereas if you think they're targeting Konate, holy cow, they're kind of, well, I guess I take it back. Everybody wants Isak.
It's what I was saying last week, man. We have an opportunity to get the best striker in the league last season. Like there's a road there. Like it's not like we're just rumors or we're just like trying to look in, see if we can. We can. The player wants us. I feel like we have to take advantage of this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's my whole thing. But then at the same,
I get that take. I get that take.
But then at the same time, if we do get another attacker, if the transfer committee team is confident in that attacker, if Slot wants him, by all means, they have a good track record. I'd be fine with that too, if that makes it. Like as Matush likes to say, the little bit of both.
Little bit of both.
Right, the little bit of but if for the clicks, for the sake of conversation, I am more partial to Isak, to just getting Isak right away, because Premier League proven, world class, will guarantee you 20 goals. As good as Ekitike has been, like he did come into the season still as an unknown, right? But with Isak, he is a known, and he's probably gonna get us that money's worth, if that makes sense.
David says Lookman is available. I don't know about Lookman's.
Was that the former Everton player?
No, not the little Lookman. I think you're thinking of the little Lookman. This is the dude in Atalanta, right? I don't know if he's still there. Is he still there? I think the issue is more with him. I think there's a lot of like riff with manager and stuff like that. And I know like different circumstances, you don't want to give the dude a bad name because of it. But I like when I think of him, that's what I think of, like a guy who's going to be a trouble. So I don't know. Is that the Lookman that was in Everton? Who's the little dude that I'm thinking of? But I don't think he was.
Well, I looked at him. I googled him. Ademola Lookman. I think he used to play for Everton as well before he moved to.
Which he didn't do much there. But then again, it was Everton.
Right.
Upamecano is great interest in Madrid. Oh yeah, so that's what we did, right? It was either him or Konate, and I remember went with Konate because that dude went to Bayern at the time. Yeah.
Oh, you saw the news?
Hey, I said this on Monday. I think it was Monday. I can't remember. Oh no, Friday morning. Semenyo. I can't remember who put that in the comments. I think it was.
Yeah, Semenyo would be the dream.
We agree with Saidu over there. I would not be too upset if you get Semenyo and Gehi and not get Isak. Am I?
Oh, I would not. Because I would not be upset. I would not be upset either, because he plays all throughout that front line. If we're talking about a plug and play option, and I know, I'm not to sound like the alarm horn here, but Salah's going to be gone the AFCON. We still don't have a true right wing who's going to play in that position during that span.
Frimpy.
You confident?
Frimpong is the right winger? How dare you?
I mean, I feel like he'll play there, but I mean, we're gonna have to. I guess what I'm trying to say is, I hope Wirtz has accustomed himself to the Premier League at that point of the season, because if we're talking about where the creative outlet is still coming from to start the season, it's still Salah. Like everyone still doubles up, triples up on Salah. Because they know the threat. Like he had an awful game last game, but he still popped up with an assist towards the end. You know what I mean? That's how good he is. Like that
he could have had an assist earlier too, if
to Curtis,
control and finish.
To Curtis,
like amazing one-touch pass, which is,
you know what I mean. So
for the goal, to be honest,
right. And I guess the point that I'm trying to make to him, I'm sure Frimpong can come in there, put in a good 6, 7, or even 8 out of 10 on a really good day. But you want that kind of talisman up front, who, even if he's having such an awful game, you can guarantee he's going to come up with either a goal or an assist towards the end of the game to make the difference. You know what I mean? And Salah's still that guy with us. And if he goes, I don't know who's going to be replacing, who's going to be that guy, if that makes sense. I hope it's Florian Wirtz. He's hopefully found his form by then, or maybe Ekitike. But as of now, it's still Salah, and that worries me, you know? Look at me, Pete.
Semenyo above Isak. Okay, here's the thing. Let's before you hit the thumbs down button. I'm trying to get people to hit the thumbs up button over here. We have like 30
I think to be fair, right.
thumbs up,
to be fair, I think Saidu said as an alternative to Isak, Susie.
I'm basically saying this though. Okay, this is what we're comparing. I'm not saying should we get Semenyo or Isak. We should get Semenyo. That's not the conversation here. The conversation is 150 for Isak or 80 for Semenyo.
80%. I mean, I gave my answer a while ago, man. I'd still go Isak. But at the same time, if Newcastle are being a pest and we're pressed for time, I get the Semenyo argument, you know, because we can't come out of this window with nothing because we're screwed.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, like, right? Like we do need to get somebody.
Yeah,
this is an interesting shot over here. This morning is all over. We're out there shopping for people. That's what I like. 4 days to go is the classic end of the window, because I really do like the shot by Adam. Actually, Mainu, 80. No, really? I mean, I don't know. Semenyo, I would in a world where Larson is like freaking 50, 60. Mind you, he scored 2 goals yesterday in the EFL Cup. Came in and won the game for Wolves against West Ham. I fell in this huge hole of highlights of the EFL Cup yesterday. Like literally, I don't know. I need something better to do with my life. I literally spent like 45 minutes just laying down watching all those games. But yeah, he came in at the end and scored 2 goals. And I'm sure, like, you know, freaking Newcastle was like, God damn it, he's gonna be another 5 to 10 million now, because he literally came in and scored 2 goals and got him to the next round over there. Everybody is going with Isak for 150. I got you. He's the best striker in the world. Okay.
Based on last season, I would agree. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They said if she can spend. Yeah, I don't see. No, there's if you're getting Isak and you're spending 150. Okay, yeah, let's not get too out of control over here. I don't think that's happening. You might get, I can see us getting Isak and Gehi, and then maybe Elliott's going out or something like that. But there is no. Oh, okay. Ryan is finding 80 too high.
For Semenyo,
it's kind of like shopping on Christmas Eve for your wife, man. My wife is so hard to shop for. I'm telling you. But Christmas.
Thank God I don't have a. Yeah, I was about to say, thank God I'm not married. I'm not in a relationship right now.
And the funny thing is, that's the only person that, you know, I actually had to shop for in some ways, because the other ones, you know, I throw a lot of input in. I might be like, hey, you know, Jasmine will like that, Layla will like that kind of a thing. And we only do like the tight family anyway. We don't have like all these like other people that we have to buy stuff for. But yeah, the wife thing, coming up with something, it's easy, but I try to get original and it just goes downhill. Well, it doesn't go downhill, but you know what I mean. Definitely not something you want to do Christmas Eve, because then you go out there and it's a bunch of crap sets that people are trying to shove at each other, that you can walk down aisles and stuff. Ugh, don't say Christmas. It's only August. Let's not even think about it. But okay, let's go back to Mainu over here, because I really do like the shot, because I really thought this kid, and we thought this kid, didn't he like score against us in that game? Was that FA Cup or something like that? But aside from that, I really thought he was going to be something. I'm like, man, they got something going on over here. And with like the manager change, and I know he had an injury for a while, so they're kind of like, he doesn't fit, because he's trying to make Bruno Fernandes a 6, and more power to him trying to do that so Mainu can get in there. So
he's trying to make Bruno a 6. He's trying to make Bruno
go after. I don't think we would go after him, but I really like Adam's shout over there. I think that would be macaroni pictures. I don't know what the hell that is. Somebody's gonna have to explain that. Someone has to mansplain that, because I have no idea. Do you know what that is?
You're asking me? Come on, man.
I don't know. Like
no.
I thought maybe it was like a new thing, like youth thing. No. So like anything new, I ask you. So
when I was in a relationship back in the day for Christmas, what do you want? Okay, I'll get you that.
I wonder why that relationship didn't last.
Oh, it's never me, man.
Like, what do you want?
It's never me, man, just so you know. I'm the most reasonable guy you can interact with.
Okay, yeah, McCrinning. Oh, it's a preschool thing. Okay. Yeah, I see Gordon. Finn probably just did it for a girlfriend for Valentine's or something. That's why Gordon knows about it. But,
Jesus.
yeah. Well, we're doing a podathon for finding your girlfriend. I don't know. That would be like a 48 hours or 96 hours or whatever.
Or 100 hours. Let me tell you, dating market is fucked right now, man. The economy is all over the place because of inflation. I'd say the dating market is all over the place too. Like, fucking hell, man. Like you can be a perfectly good-looking dude, but you know what? I don't want to go into this. I'm just gonna take up the remainder of the show. Like,
oh God, hold on. The
I'm
market's
just
closing, dude. You got 4 days to get somebody.
I'm just putting my hands up here. If I say what I want to say, I'm gonna take up the whole show. But by all means, continue.
Mourinho would say, "If I speak, I'm
If
in
I
trouble."
speak, I'm in big trouble. Big trouble. Okay, man. Let's talk about Mainu. Yeah. United are never going to sell to us for one. So I think that conversation is out the window. As much as he could be a possible prospect, and I think we're stacked enough in midfield, right? We talked about it over the previous shows where we have Gravenberch, McAllister, Szoboszlai to play either the 10 or the 6. And now we can play right back. We have Endo. We have Curtis Jones. I think midfield is fine. It's attack that I'm really worried. It's attack that I'm really worrying about, and defense, unless we're looking to convert Mainu into a 10. That's the only reason I could kind of see him. But in terms of the holding part, I think we're covered. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. I don't think
Yeah.
and I don't know if he's saying it as a need. I mean, he's only 20 years old. I think it would be more like.
You'd want to get him game time, though. Right.
That's fair. I just think, like it would be more for the future because Endo's going to be, I mean, Endo's not getting any younger kind of a deal. And you would bring, I really thought this kid was going to be really, really good. I thought he was going to end up being a star. And now if they're going to let him go, like I wouldn't mind going. I mean, this is like, you're probably right. United probably won't sell to us. Would rather like loan with an option to buy or something like that somewhere. But I would not mind. I think that's a really good shot. I don't know, because like I already thought he's a good player, but it would be a young kid for your midfield. I guess the question more would be like, does it block the way of a guy like Neoni and stuff like that? So if you have that,
right?
Like, hey, I don't want to, block his path, because they talk about like getting a left winger blocking the path of Rio and stuff like that. I don't know if that's kind of like a.
And I feel like, man, if you get him, I think a Curtis Jones leaves, if that makes sense, because you're gonna want to give him some game time.
Curtis Jones, I don't see Curtis Jones going nowhere. I'm sure he's seen what's happened to Trent, so he has to be smarter than that. And he's not going to go to somewhere in the Premier League. So I would think he would have been.
But then the thing is, if you bring Mainu in, he doesn't start over Gravenberch and McAllister, so obviously he's a depth piece. Curtis Jones is a depth piece. Endo is a depth piece. So that's going to be 3 guys fighting for 2. You know what I mean?
Say that, but when you're doing, I mean, I hope, we do better this year. I do think we're gonna approach Champions League totally different this year. I don't think he's gonna go all out. So there's gonna be a lot of rotation. You're gonna get a lot of guys getting a lot of minutes over there. So I think that's so those guys that we consider depth are going to get like regular team time. By the way, this you took the conversation to a totally different area. People were like shopping for players. Now people are shopping for Christmas on the sideline over there. A girlfriend is cheaper than a wife?
I wouldn't know. Never had a wife.
Well, you wouldn't know. I'm asking the.
I'll take your guys' word for it. If you say it's more expensive, you guys are vets. I take your word for it.
Is a girlfriend more expensive than a wife? I'm asking the audience over here. I don't. See, if you're smart like me, unfortunately, Angel listens to this, but if you're smart like me, for example, you can buy the wife gifts that gives you a gift at the same time, if you know what I mean. No, not in that sense, you sick bastard. I was thinking, for example, like the last gift I got her, she was like complaining about her thing. So I actually got for her birthday, like the sushi making kit, like a really, really nice one to make sushi. Guess who's eating a lot of fucking sushi? There you go. So this is my tip too. Your daily tip of relationships. If you're gonna take anything from the show this morning, take this. Buy a gift that gifts you back. He'll end up at 4 assessors. Yeah, you know what? Oh man, I don't. Gordo, man, you're not working anyway.
Whoa, okay.
Like you're not. Don't kid yourself. You're not getting any work done this morning, so you should have just like hopped on. But yeah, unfortunately, probably not till the end of the week. I know Palace plays tomorrow, so if there's going to be any action on Gahey, it would be probably after that game. Because I agree. I think Gally was saying it on Monday. I do agree that, it's more about, we're like, yeah, that's fine. You can use them for that kind of a thing. See, exactly. Adam says, I think someone like Slav will be a better coach for me. You're not saying I want. I would not mind him.
I agree.
I do not mind him at all. But this is a family show. Sushi, man. No, like actual sushi. It's not a key word for. He's like asking a chat GPT if sushi is like a like a code for something else or something like that. No, man, stop. Well, I mean that too, though.
You can only blame yourself. You can only. This is your Kirkez moment, my friend. You just let it. You just let them score on you, man.
Bending over and trying to hold everyone back. Yes.
Yeah, it's your Kirkez moment, my friend. Like, my God, I'm just Van Dyke looking at you. Like, what are you doing, man?
Who is Alexandra Iala?
Let's just say, dude, I'm kind of looking for someone out of my race. So I'm a little tired. Let me just say.
Tennis player. It's only 20 years old.
I'm 9 years older, so I don't know what
to do. John, you can do better. I'm telling you, you can do better.
I'm 9 years older, so I don't know how she'd feel about that. And like I said, I'm kind of looking outside my race to open my horizons a little bit. You know what I mean? That makes sense. Tim is defending like
I thought you were on my side. But yeah, John is a Polish chick. Why would he be? Why would you be? Yeah, what is up with that? Maybe the Polish prince can help. Yeah. What? So you do not want somebody who's a Filipino? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, just to try and expand my horizons a little bit. Open my point of view.
I got it. Okay.
It gets stale. You know what I mean? It's like you. Sorry.
Steven is back. Steven is trying to sell Isak. So Steven is not so happy with Gordon. Honestly, yeah, there was a lot of talk about Gordon coming over. Hey, for 150, both of them, sure, why not? That's talking about
for sure.
Depth. That's a lot of depth over there. Would be interesting to get Steven's take, actually. What do you think of that game, man? And what do you think happens with Isak, by the way? Does he stay? Because everybody's making, I'll ask you that, John. Like, everybody's talking about, like, Gordon, that, the Gordon situation, that he got a red card, he's going to be out for 3 games. Everybody, like, was talking. I was watching, like, Carragher and Henry talking about it and stuff like that. Like, it changes the whole dynamic. It's like 3 games. I don't think clubs are making decisions based on what's going to happen in the next 3 games when you're talking about, especially when you're talking about 120, 130 million floating around. I don't think you're looking at, September 2025 is more important than anything else. But do you think it affects it at all? Because they really put a lot of stock in the fact that, Gordon being out for 3 games now is really going to change how they look at it.
Yeah, but by looking at it, do they mean the whole Isak situation? Because I didn't catch that.
They would want to keep Isak now, kind of a deal.
I mean, what's 3 games and you could get 150 million pounds for Isak? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make a difference. I feel like it's just, them boys. Like, I like Carragher, I like Henry, I like how they analyze, but then at the same time, I feel like they're just dredging it up for the sake of conversation. If that makes sense. I'm with you. It doesn't really affect any. What's 3 games? And Newcastle haven't started the season well. I think until they get that Isak replacement, they're just hanging on for dear life, if that makes sense. And their fans accept it. Like, it's a situation that they don't want to be in, but they're in that, unfortunately. So you just have to hold the line. And whether or not Anthony Gordon is playing, that squad is well coached, let me tell you. Give my credit to Eddie Howe. Being down to 10 men, playing the way that they did, obviously being at home helped. Like, they get blown away if they were playing away.
Yeah,
by the way, not home.
Energy from it's
right.
Almost
a lot of
they play with 12 due to this.
Right, but then you could tell that those guys on the pitch, they want to play for him. so they at least have that going for him. It's not the end of the world for me. If I'm being impartial here, throw my Liverpool glasses, to the side. Newcastle are in good shape as long as they find that Isak replacement, I feel.
Yeah, but that's like saying, finding a Van Dijk replacement.
Oh yeah, of course.
Like it's
of
not,
course. It's easier
not
said
like
than done.
Gordon's a bad player, but you can tell, like, if they had Isak that game, there's a couple of situations where there's somebody in the middle. There's like 2 moments where somebody gets a header in the box. I think it's Gordon, mind you. And then there's another one where I think Szoboszlai is defending in the last second over there, and the ball just trickles to Ali instead of like getting great contact on it. So that's great defending, mind you. But I think if it's Isak over there, those could be goals. Newcastle's like a bloke who goes in the bar, goes up to chat a woman, and she rejects him, so he goes on to the next one.
And what's funny,
so I guess we're good there.
Hey, don't take this the wrong way. Like I've known, and a lot of my friends are Filipinos, but it's just a preference thing. You know what I mean?
You are, yes. So for the records, John is endorsing Filipino girls, just not for himself.
My goodness! Like, how did this conversation?
I have no idea. We went all over the place. That's why I love about mornings. They played. Yeah, I think. Yeah, that's another thing, man. I mean, one guy is holding his shoulder, the other one was holding his back.
To be fair,
I don't know what came out of it, but the Joelinton one looked.
It's like really funny. Like, I don't know if you were at social media before the game started, but then you had Newcastle fans saying that they were going to bully us. And to be fair, they were bullying us before it was 11v10. And even at times, 11v10, they were bullying us. But then at the same time, it's really funny how they're the ones who came out with all the injuries and everything after doing all the bullying. That's the most ironic thing. Like, guys overextended themselves trying to be the bully here. And we ended up coming out with the 3 points. I don't know.
But maybe they get physically bullied, that's for sure. But yeah, the funny thing is, I think the word was more, and Jonathan can really bump into me, and I'll probably be like injured for like a month. But like Joelinton would hurt somebody, and Guimaraes and stuff like that, and then Joelinton is the one who got hurt. Steven says they need a center forward or 2, and we can have the Rats. I don't know. Larson's price probably just went up over there, so I don't know if they're going to be able to get somebody over the line. That it's just like, it's so weird. Angie was like asking me, like, why? Like, nobody wants to go there. Like, you see this team, right? You see,
I was about to say,
why does nobody want to go there? And I know, like, people are shitting on Newcastle, like the city or something like that. It can't have anything to do with the city and stuff like that, because otherwise everybody would just go to London teams. I don't think the city has a lot to do with it. It has to be something else. Is it all this stuff happening in the background? There's a lot of other stories in the background that people are like talking about it. There has to be a reason where people are kind of irked away from it, that they would rather go to United than go to Newcastle. I mean, go ahead.
I don't know who it was who put up. I forget who it was who put up the analogy of Newcastle being a guy walking in a bar. But if we're going by that analogy, the perfectly solid gentleman, right, has a good career, looks good. Like, in football terms, they're in the Champions League. They have a good team. They have a good coach, right? So he is a perfectly capable guy walking into the bar trying to pick up girls. But for some reason, the girls keep rejecting him, and we can't figure out why. My guess is, man, it's just a perfect storm of everything just happening all at once, and their targets that they happen to be targeting being targeted by teams that also happen to be more attractive to those players. You know what I mean? Like, at some point, you just have to feel like it's just a very bad coincidence. It's a very bad sort of luck of the draw, if that makes sense. Because if I was a player right now and Newcastle United was trying to get me, I would be like, yeah, you know what? Why not? They play a high energy style. They play exciting football with an exciting manager, a team that's on the up with young players. Like, what wouldn't you want?
Manager?
I would say so. Like, I would say Eddie Howe's pretty positive. Well, outside of
when he has the assistant next to him, I just saw the interview. I was like, dude, go get your assistant, because you're so lost when you're not talking to him at the same time.
I don't know, man. Like, we're gonna go down to another rabbit hole if we talk about Eddie Howe, but I think I think you would agree he's a good manager. No, he's a good manager. So
why the assistant is always coming out of his fucking back pocket. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have never seen another manager, leave alone in the Premier League, in the goddamn world, where the assistant is literally coming out of his fucking side pocket, back pocket.
Let me ask you though, let me ask you though, which is more irritating, that dude or Arteta just going out of his touchline
Oh
repeatedly?
no, no. I mean, that's just not even fair. I mean, that's not even a fair comparison, because like Eddie Howe is like a really easygoing guy, and looks
Right.
like the other guy is always like the devil on his shoulder or something like that. Let's go attack or something like he's constantly like behind him talking. It's like, dude, shut up! Like, go sit down. First of all, what happened? I thought it was only the manager who could be in the box. They almost like at this point take Newcastle as these two are one manager. They're like walking around in the fucking thing together. What is this Harana thing that John speaks of? I mean, Ozan speaks of.
What the hell is that? I'm sorry. Must be an old school thing.
Oh God.
Oh, I see. I see what you mean. Yeah, so there is this tradition with Filipino men about, because obviously we're a very conservative nation. So it's basically how it would be like in a fairy tale, where Rapunzel in the tower, and then the dude is down singing to her, like giving her all that shit to flatter her and stuff like that. Basically, it's how do I
Those are
say
being
this?
traditional. That's like fairy tale shit. What? Huh?
Yeah, because there is there is like a reputation in our country about how men really go the route of I wouldn't say spoiling. It's a very simplistic term to describe it, but if I would put it this way, traditional Filipino men go above and beyond on the courtship stage. You'd think that they're already
Oh, okay,
married.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And to answer your question, Ozan, absolutely not for me.
Damn.
Especially now, absolutely not. Especially now in today's dating in the Western dating market, my friend. No, thank you, sir.
Yes, John
No,
will have
thank
none
you,
of
sir.
that. Steven says
Yeah,
they can't pay the
yeah.
wages, and that's why everybody is going there. Why not? I guess is the question. I mean, I
Yeah, that
understand the
yeah.
whole the income and like obviously those clubs are a bit more global, so their income overall, jersey sales, whatever, like all these rights and
Yeah.
stuff like that is going to be more than Newcastle. I don't know. I'm still getting shit for that real, but I really thought 2 months ago Newcastle was a team that's like could be the new destination, new one coming into the top six. Like, when the Saudi owners came in, what they envisioned would happen was almost like happening, building towards that. And you look at it now, and it's like they're literally like running around trying to get somebody, and they can't, like sign anybody over there. I think Ryan was saying in the comments, that's probably a good point there. It is going to be kind of like a basketball trade. Like we get you get that, and the third round pick in the next draft kind of thing. Looks like John is sweating, dude. You guys are making John sweat this morning, and he's in 4K too, so he's really like sweating it out this morning over
Oh
here.
yeah, I was just I don't have a fan in this room. This is the spare room in the house. I didn't put a fan in here, which is why.
Yeah, Adam says, "Well, how has this gone to Disney now? Who knows? This show went all over there this morning."
Blame Ozan, bro. Like, he's the one asking.
I haven't been to Newcastle. Pretty positive. But like I say, when people say, "Oh, Newcastle" and stuff like that,
This
like,
this,
no,
this
I
is
don't think
why
a professional player makes a
this is
decision
why
like
I'm yeah, this is why I'm just going with the route, man. That is just an insane amount of bad luck, because there is no logical reason why. I guess the wages, right? Maybe.
the wages,
Or
is
the-
like Steven is talking about, and there's
yeah,
probably a lot of truth to that. But I just feel like, man, they gotta be able to. Some of these scenarios, they have not been able to get it from the club, and that's now they kind of like painted themselves into a corner. This is like probably there'll be a book on like the worst transfer window of all time for Newcastle, and this could be probably a book because they've kind of like painted themselves to a corner. Now they're out there. Everybody knows they need a striker, and everybody knows they're gonna get money. So everybody's, like Visa, that'll be 60. Larson, that'll be 60. Like everybody's just asking for the sky, knowing it's a supply and demand kind of a deal. They could have probably gotten Visa. They could have probably gotten Larson for 40 a month and a half ago if they wanted to. I
yeah.
really think they thought they could either convince Isak, force Isak, or he's not serious. He says he wants to go, but he's just playing kind of thing.
My
But
God.
Isak is like, no, I'm not. I want to go. Is probably what happened. But this has to go back to being like one of the worst run transfer windows of all time.
Yeah.
Because even Elanga,
I mean,
they paid 55 for it. It's not like they got a good deal on Elanga or something.
solid player though, Elanga, I would say.
Yeah, but I mean, 55. Well, I guess 55 at the time seemed high. When you see like the rates now, it's
right. Like how much did we pay for Nunez? Like 70,
yeah. Let's
right?
not go there. Let's not go there. We're trying
Well,
to.
you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like I don't want to knock on. I mean, I feel like that's the going rate now, man, for proven Premier League players who can possibly be first choice, which Elanga is on their team. I feel like 50, what I'm trying to say is I think 55 was fair for Elanga, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Turnovers 320. Yeah, and that's the problem there, right? And it's not. I think the assumption was you guys would pull some kind of City stuff. I don't think City normally has that money. The only reason City has that money is they find these sponsors to come in and do it. And I think, mind you, whatever happened to that case, is that ever going to be resolved? I thought it was going to be, but I think like basically once that gets resolved, if they open the doors, God knows what's going to happen. And I think that's when you get a lot of Saudi based sponsor, Steven, that the king's nephew owns a company buying a thing for inside of the socks for like 100 million or something like that.
The king's nephew's friend's wife's kid.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be a lot of that, I think. But Alan says Nunez would have missed the goal that Rio scored.
Let's not go there.
Let's not go there. Let's not even think
I think I agree.
Yeah.
I for the record, he wouldn't have missed. He would have skied it.
Yes,
would have skied it.
Yeah, he would have hit the post. I think is what the worst thing is. But hey, that dude had like some bangers against freaking Newcastle in that game where we were 10 men. So yeah, Steven says they don't have hotels to sell to us.
Yeah, exactly. You know what's funny? You talk about Darwin at Newcastle. He scored those goals when we came back from 2-1 down, when we were down to 10 men.
Yeah.
Those were tough chances. The angle was working against him. It had to be pinpoint. And then last year, I think at Newcastle away, he had a very easy chance. I think they just had to head in, and somehow he didn't make contact.
That Newcastle game, I remember, like they were like, "Hey, that's when everything is going to be changed and stuff like that." Tim, have you changed your mind if Rio is ready to be Cody's backup all season long?
And by the way, man, before you go there, I think Cody had an okay game. People were calling him trash. He had 2 assists in the game, and I thought he tried to be an option. We just couldn't get him the ball. I think Cody had an okay game. I'm just sticking up for him.
I think so. Like nothing exceptional. I mean, honestly, the only thing we got going for us the entire game was whenever we had the pressure, we were playing the ball long to Gakpo because he had the size advantage over Trippier, and then he did win most of those balls. I mean, that's what we were trying. Now, we weren't trying it by design, I think, but when we were hoofing it up, the game plan was to go to Gakpo and use that size advantage.
I'm just bringing it up, man. Yeah, sorry to cut you off. I'm just bringing it up, man, because I'm seeing people saying start Rio against Arsenal because Gakpo's trash. I just can't.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yes, hit that freaking like. You tell him, Alan. Yes, hit the like button. More importantly, grab a friend, drag him by the ear. Because if anybody tuned in and they listen to they listen to the girlfriend talk, they were like, I thought this was a Liverpool.
The thing is, I don't even know if I don't know if I strengthened my case or worsened it, honestly. Probably. For if a girl sees this, I don't know if I strengthened my case or worsened it.
No, you did not. Well, definitely not for Filipino girls. But everybody else might be intrigued. We'll find out. You can do a poll on YouTube.
For fuck's sake, no thank you, sir. Like
chances or not.
I want our channel to grow, man. Like next thing you know, our channel is banned for language or some shit. You know what I mean?
Well, the bad thing is John is the one who clips these usually.
Yeah, I clip the damn things, man. I clip it. I do it.
I don't know if it's clip worthy because it's going to be a lot of relationship advice.
No.
I mean, no. Gakpo is like I think the only issue is he did well this game, but some of the physical games he struggles. But going back to Ozan's thing, and I'll ask you that on the way out too, but I'm not ready to put him as Diaz Gakpo. Like one or the other,
absolutely
doesn't matter which starts kind of a thing. I think automatically it's going to be Gakpo all the time, and I think we do want someone. If you get Isak, for example, there will be games where we will talk about starting 11, and we might say, "Hey, Ekitike maybe on the left or Gakpo on the left. I don't think we're ready to have that
Even
conversation. Is Rio going to be starting on the left or Gakpo yet? And I don't think we want to be there.
yeah, if we're as good as Rio can be, I'm saying can be because like one goal doesn't make him like the next Mbappe or whatever like that. Like
Yeah.
he's got it in him. I would say that. But then at the same time, like if we're relying on a 16-year-old to be our next best attacker for a position that's really key to us, it's not good. And I would and to your point, I would even add Wirtz as an option to the left, a consistent option to the left. More consistently than Rio because that like I know it's a moment, but we looked really good with Szoboszlai back in that 10. That dummy where he set up Rio, he's got it in him. He's a great option at that 10. We won the league with him.
Yeah, I think when Frimpong is back or Bradley is in shape and stuff like that, you do want to get him into midfield, and that will be one way to have all four. So to answer the question, I don't think you put Rio that high on the depth chart, but you definitely make a case for like he's not going anywhere being loaned or anything like that. He is going to be a part of the squad. And Ryan was talking about the Champions League games. I don't think we approached the Champions League like that this year, where we like
want to win every game.
The beginning and then trying to take it easy. I think he's going to rotate big time every single game, and doesn't matter if we qualify by being 6th or 7th or whatever, because he knows now. Doesn't matter. You might still end up. You can be, win every goddamn game and still end up with PSG. You can be number 1 and end up with PSG in the first round. So I think having seen that, and that's what's stupid about this format in the first place, but apparently it hasn't changed. So I think we go a lot of mixed match squads along the way. Obviously the fixture will determine that too, like who you're playing with. But I think if we're playing with, I don't know, Bratislava or some shit like that, away, or actually even better, at home, I think you might see Rio out there and stuff like that. See a lot more rotation than Chiesa and all that kind of stuff. So let's get Isak and Gehi, and then we'll sort the rest later, hopefully. But hopefully next time we meet over here, we'll be talking about all that. I'll be back tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I can't think of a scenario, man, where we don't get anyone. That's my worst case there.
That is my worst case. I don't want to think about it either, and I'm getting more and more worried. There's freaking 3 days left over here, so let's make sure it doesn't. By the way, CNN is going to come and visit you. I don't know why, but that should be interesting. But yes, thanks a lot for all those watching this morning. I'll be back tomorrow morning. Adri is going to be back, and actually we're going to have Travis back from the overnights. So it's going to be the Podathon reunion going on tomorrow morning. So do tune in for that. We'll talk a lot about this stuff, and God knows, maybe we'll talk about something being official. There's talks about Gehi. Some of the guys are writing it's on their best show ever. I don't know. That's well, I guess it's a
wow. I am honored. Let me just say, I am honored to be part of the best show ever as a
vertical formats at that.
In a vertical format as well. I apologize for this. For some reason, my camera was nah, I'm not doing it today. My camera probably knew what we were going to talk about and said I didn't want to be part. I didn't want to be part of this shit. No, thank you.
Thanks a lot, everybody. Hit that thumbs up, and please, please, please go grab a friend and drag them by the ear over here to subscribe to the channel. We've had some immense growth over the last month or two over here. So let's keep that rolling. Thanks to you guys. So we'll see you guys tomorrow morning, same time, same place.